It's 9 o'clock. 1-800-GOT-JUNK for home or office junk.
Alright, so let's see what Channel 1's talking about tonight. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see.
Most oddly, with the New York 1 Minute, a pair of class action lawsuits have filed against the current and previous building owners, alleging negligence contributed to the loss of life after the deadly fire.
At least they're talking about the fire in the Bronx.
People dead. Another was filed against the city, alleging they failed to inspect the building. Inflation has hit a 40-year high. The U.S. Consumer Price Inflation Index jumped 7% over the 12 months ending in December of last year. This marks the steepest.
Here we go again, gearing to a certain demographic.
Says it's not changing its guidance.
And they're talking about COVID. What about the news that's going on in Flushing?
Each month to schools starting later this month.
Are you kidding me?
Broadway shows feeling the effects of Omicron. Earnings were down 31% last week for the week prior.
Yep, same old Channel 1. Same old Channel 1. You want to know what they only talked about in Flushing? This. Yeah. That's the only thing they covered in Flushing. Anything else? No. No. They didn't. So, we're going to get into all the news that Channel 1 is ignoring once again in this video. Well, I certainly think I did a good job with that intro, but yes, it's time again to call out the fine folks at Channel 1. Because, yet again, we're just getting ignored in Queens, so let's take a look at their homepage, because right now I do have them on mute. The gaming monitor is showing Channel 1 right now, because I'm just taking a look, because they're going to likely recap the top stories in 20 minutes. But, here we go. This is their homepage right now. Politics. Politics. I mean, you just cannot make this stuff up. I mean, well, I didn't see this, anywhere else. But I'm gonna see if it's, Bronx Bodega crime. I think Channel 7 brought it up the other day. Bodega crime. Let's see. Here we go. That's the one. I don't want to read from the New York one. I really don't. So, you go again. Gearing to a certain demographic. Do we have anything in Queens, for an example? Anything about the fire that happened in Queens? Anything about the other crime that happened in Flushing that we are going to get into? We're going to get into it. Alright, well, I can understand this is a big deal. I mean, this is technically news from Queens. I mean, that's good that they're going to retire Keith Hernandez's jersey, but I mean, nothing about it. Nothing about it. Nothing about anything in Queens, so I guess we have to go to our secondary news source. So here we go. Let's get into the news that Channel 1 just doesn't seem to really care about. So here we go. First up, we have a fire in Flushing. So let's read this. 2-alarm fire tore through the upper floors of a Parsons Boulevard apartment building in Flushing in the wee hours of... early morning hours. This happened today, January 12th. The blaze began in a 6th floor apartment building at 34-15 Parsons Boulevard just before 5 a.m. according to the FDNY. Yeah, so look at that. We're going to have to use that top picture as my thumbnail. Fire suppression units encountered heavy fire blowing out the windows in the 6th and then the 7th floors while battling temperatures in the low teens. The incident went to a second alarm soon after, according to the FDNY. A resident was able to rescue a dog named Rocky from one of the smoke-filled apartments and fled down the fire escape, witnesses said. So look at that, another miracle fire this week. I mean, there was another fire in Mineola where a pet got rescued. And, you know, I will admit that this is so far, we're only 2 weeks into the new year. I mean, you got to give those firefighters props in Long Island and the city for dealing with the brutal job that they've been having to deal with since the turn of the calendar year. Fire units used 2 hose lines to knock down the main body of fire and brought it under control at 5:50. So at least it didn't take that long to put it out. Only under an hour. 2 firefighters suffered minor injuries and were transported to an area hospital. The cause of the blaze is under investigation by fire marshals. So let's look up where this apartment is. We're going to pull up Google Maps. Okay, here we go. So let's take a look. Pull it up in just a second. Ah, so not too far from where Northern Boulevard is. Yeah, this is north of Northern. Okay, so I have an idea where this is. So let's see what the building looks like on the outside. Yeah, at least the building had a fire escape, see? I mean, it looks like it was redone back in the 90s or early 2000s. Yeah. Yeah, this is from August 2019. So, it doesn't look like that bad of an apartment building. At least the good news is nobody was killed. That's the main thing. But we do have to talk about this. Another incident that happened in Flushing that Channel 1 ignored. Detectives are looking for a gunman who murdered a 44-year-old man in a Queens shooting on Monday afternoon. So, thankfully, Channel 7 did cover this. Police said the bloodshed occurred at about 4:57 p.m. on Monday, January 10th in front of an apartment building at 132-44 41st Avenue in Flushing. According to law enforcement sources, the unidentified victim got involved in a dispute with the unknown gunman. The argument eventually led to the violence, so the perpetrator opened fire, striking the victim in the neck. After firing the shot, police said the perpetrator fled the scene in an unknown direction. Officers from the nearby 109th Precinct found the wounded victim while responding to a 911 call about an unconscious male at the location. EMS rushed the wounded man to New York Presbyterian Queens Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Police have withheld his identity pending family notification. So far, no arrests have been made in the ongoing investigation. So we'll just look up this address in just a second. Okay, so we can paste it here. This is 41st Avenue. Yeah, okay. Wow, not too far from where Skyview Mall is. It's where the upper scale apartments are. Let's get a look at the building at least. And around here, that little man can drop. That would be great. Thank you. Yeah, so this is where the upper scale units in Flushing are. I mean, this is what we get in Queens. This is what we get. I mean, my goodness, a broad daylight shooting. Well, technically it did happen after dusk, but how ironic. I'm talking about upper scale units in Flushing, and Channel 1 right now, they're doing a segment about fancy apartments in Williamsburg. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up with this TV station. Again, getting to a certain demographic. Why aren't I surprised? We also have to talk about this that also happened in the Flushing area, because this was a very serious crime. So, somebody was apparently being followed for no apparent reason with an out-of-state New Jersey tag, and you know, you would think that this would be news, but apparently not, because Channel 1 just doesn't seem to think that we're really worth anything in Northeast Queens. As I just said, if you're bragging about fancy apartments in Williamsburg, then, you know, you really are full of it at Spectrum. You know, and they literally say, oh, join our team, we have wonderful customer service. No, you have a horrible news department that doesn't even want to cover stories like this. And to literally go on a third-party website to find this information out. It was posted originally on a Facebook group I'm a part of, so obviously I'm going to cut out this user's name for privacy reasons, but I am going to show the plate because this is a serious crime. So this is a stalking incident. So let's read what this has to say. Being followed by a suspicious fan. From a bank, a silver Chrysler fan, temporary New Jersey plate E942690, followed us home from a Chase Bank on 154th Street and Northern Boulevard. We decided not to go into the home and circled the neighborhood for 10 minutes, just making sure we were not being followed, and we pulled to the side several times in the process. The fan stopped not far from us as well. At this point, we decided to call 911, and I drove to the 109th Precinct in downtown Flushing. The van left when he saw me talking to an officer. So everyone should look out for the suspicious cars and people around. So there you go. I mean, this was a very serious incident. I mean, this is a stalking incident that Channel 1 just doesn't care about. And, I don't know, this is some kind of parking lot or something. I don't know, but there you go. Channel 1 thinking we're not worth diddly squat. Okay, so we got a couple more incidents we're going to get into because a lot's just going on that it's just getting ignored. A lot of subway crime. A lot of subway crime. In fact, hang on. We have one more incident in Queens we're going to read first. Okay, so here we go. According to police at 9:57 p.m. on January 6th, which was last Thursday, officers responded to a 911 call regarding a man shot at the intersection of 147th Place and Jamaica Avenue. Upon their arrival, cops found 19-year-old Cristobal Alfredo Ixucar Mejia with a gunshot wound to his chest. Ixucar Mejia was rushed to Jamaica Hospital where he was pronounced dead. A gun was recovered at the scene. 20-year-old Sharice Smith was taken into custody at the scene and was charged with murder, criminal possession of a loaded firearm, criminal possession of a disguised gun, and criminal possession of a firearm. The investigation remains ongoing. So, my message to District Attorney Melinda Katz, please put this guy in jail as soon as possible because murder charge, I mean, that's easily in her book a 10 to 15 year sentence. So this guy needs to be in jail. This 20-year-old thug needs to be in jail. Bottom line. You know Melinda Katz is gonna do something about it. Because we have a better district attorney in Queens than Alvin Bragg in Manhattan. That's for sure. Alright, so let's get into some subway crime. Because we do have a couple incidents we're going to read you. And then I'm going to read this last story at the very end. This is a very disturbing one we're going to read at the end. A bodega robbery involving a hammer. Yeah. Yeah, you heard me. This is disturbing as it is. So we'll get to it at the end of the video. So here we go. First up, in terms of subway crime. Cops roughly arresting man after pulling him off a West Village train. 2 subway cops forcibly restrained a man and booted him from a West Village subway station in an incident caught early on Monday morning, January 10th. Just days after the new New York City Mayor Eric Adams vowed to coordinate closer with outreach workers in the transit system. Okay, so here we go. This happened at the 8th Avenue L train stop just before 1 o'clock in the morning, where he starts shouting no and the police pull him to the ground and restrain him. Kareem Walker, an eyewitness, said, "I was pretty shocked and upset about the whole situation," who captured the incident on his cell phone. An NYPD spokesman said in a statement that the officer responded to a 911 call about an unconscious man on the L train and he was disoriented when they took him off the subway. The man sat down on the steps when they were trying to bring him to an ambulance outside the station, and they negotiated with him for about 10 minutes before he tried to kick, punch, and bite the officers. The cops pulled him to the ground and handcuffed him as he flailed and screamed before bringing him to Beth Israel Hospital for an evaluation. Police did not charge him with a crime. So, I mean, I don't know what led up to this, but still, I mean... More cops in the 77 police precincts. I mean, I don't know if that's an accurate number, but still. So it's not clear what led up to it, so... Oh, well, this is interesting. There was actually a bus shooting tonight. New York One briefly brought it up. Let's see if I can find it. I know Channel 2 brought it up. Yeah, here we go. Channel 2 brought it up. See if you can get the video. I was watching it on the YouTube page earlier. So, surprisingly, Channel 1 briefly brings up the crime, but it was only for about 20 seconds. 20 seconds! As I was reading that last article.
In the Bronx right now, we're getting reports of shots fired on a city bus. CBS 2's Dan Rice in Chopper 2 right now over the scene in Van Ness. Dan.
And Maurice, you're looking at that BX39 bus here. He was traveling northbound on White Plains Road when two people got into a dispute with a third person on the bus. That third person had a gun on that person, and when the dispute was happening, they fired shots on the bus. Now, nobody was hit by those shots on the bus, but when the bus pulled over, that person fled from the scene, and you can see the investigation going on right now. Again, no injuries, but police doing their investigation here on White Plains Road at Van Ness Avenue. And, of course, as we get more information, we will bring it to you. Reporting live in Chopper 2, Dan Rice, CBS 2 News.
Okay.
So that was a pretty brief description, but at least Channel 2 actually had their chopper over it. And then, believe it or not, I heard about this on 1010 Wins. So why aren't I surprised they're actually covering the crime too? Alright, so here we go. Teen punched in face in hate crime on Brooklyn subway. So here we go. When did this happen? This happened on January 10th. So a 14-year-old was punched in the face on the subway earlier this week in a possible hate crime targeting him and his family. The 14-year-old was riding the 4 train near Atlantic Avenue and Barclays Center around 7:15 Monday when a man sat next to him and his 2 family members. The man said before punching the teen in the face, "I don't like Mexicans." The punch left a laceration on the 14-year-old's nose, police said. The man fled the train after the attack, but not before he was caught on video. So this is the suspect they're looking for, apparently. So, very disturbing. I mean, Channel 1 could have briefly brought this up for 20-30 seconds, but no. And in fact, right now, they're actually covering the renovation of the New York Public Library in Midtown. So, I mean, that's notable news. I mean, that's important. I care about that. But, you know, there's plenty of other stuff to talk about. Like these stories that Channel 1 just constantly puts behind us. So, and look at this. Subway stabbing. Here we go. It happened on Sunday. According to police, a man was slashed in the face with a knife on a 6 train on Lexington Avenue and East 96th Street just before 9 a.m. The victim was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital. He's expected to survive. Police said it was too early to tell what the motive was for the attack or if any words were exchanged. He was seen wearing a black coat, gray sweatpants, and a multicolored turban. Officials said the suspect was last seen running southbound on the train tracks. So, lovely. Unauthorized person. So they actually do have a video. Let's see if we can take a look. And they're just showing police looking into it. I mean, come on. That's not a good video, Channel 7. Okay, so we're going to read our last story of the night because I think I'm done just talking about these people at Channel 1. I mean, what is there to expect from this station? Here we go. Wild new video captures the moment a duo attacked a man with a hammer inside a Bronx bodega before the male assailant pulled out a gun and opened fire. So here we go. They do have a video of it. There is no sound. But here you go. I mean, you're just shopping and all of a sudden, that gets pulled out. Really? I mean, look how crazy this is. My goodness. Okay, so here we go. The 50-year-old victim was inside a bodega in Morris Park Avenue near White Plains Road in Van Ness minutes before 10 p.m. on December 26th, when the male suspect accused him of looking at a woman who was with him. A language barrier made matters completely worse, and the squabble turned violent. Video shows the male suspect who walked with a single crutch pushing the victim, who was holding onto his sweatshirt. The female suspect then struck the victim in the head and with a hammer, while the man pointed a gun at him. The fracas continued outside the store, when the woman continued to struggle with the victim and hit him with the hammer. So that's just disturbing. I mean, guns and hammers, I mean, what is this? Then the gunman fired off one round, striking the side of the bodega. The victim was not struck by gunfire and ran into the store. He was taken to Jacoby Medical, where he received stitches. So no surprise there. Cops still looking for the suspects, so... I mean, this is on the news channel one could be covering, but they just choose not to and just completely forget about us, so... with that, we're going to wrap up this video, and you know I'm going to keep calling them out whenever they are up to no good and not covering the news that matters to us. So, that's it. Thank you for watching.